Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's Bandit Ball 85 on Channel 44. Today, the Bandits meet the USFL champion Baltimore Stars in a preseason useful game. Today's game brought to you in part by Miller Lite. Everything you always wanted in a beer and less. Hello, everyone. This is Randy Scott along with Fred Abbott, set to bring you the action here in Charlotte, North Carolina on Channel 44 this afternoon as the Tampa Bay Bandits meet the defending champion Baltimore Stars in a preseason game. 45 degrees right around that mark at kickoff time, Freddie. This is football weather.
It's perfect, Randy. It's not too cold, and you're not going to get tired and get dehydrated from sweating. It's really just right for a football game.
Well, as most of you are aware, last week in Tampa, the Bandits defeated the New Jersey Generals 21-7 in their preseason opener. Fred, we saw a lot of second and third team players in that game. I think Steve Spurrier is going to look at a lot more of his starters today in this game.
Well, I think the first half is going to be real tight, and we're going to see all starters and a real good offensive show because of these two football teams just have great offenses.
And, you know, right around the corner is the final cut day. By Monday, these teams have to pare their rosters down to the final USFL limits. So if anybody thinks these guys are just going through the motions out here today, they're wrong.
Well, the second half is going to be real dramatic and critical for a lot of players as to whether they're playing football on Monday or in the unemployment line. So we'll see a lot of people that are really trying hard in the second half of this football game.
Fred and I will be right back after this message. So let's see what Jim Moore and Steve Spurrier are going to take a look at here in the final tune-up for the regular season. David Trout tees it up for the Philadelphia Stars. The return men are Steve Carter and Bobby Futrell for Tampa Bay. Carter number 14, Futrell number 34. And David Trout is in his fourth year out of Pitt. Will kick off. Take a look at the deep men for the Tampa Bay Bandits, Futrell and Carter. These are two outstanding youngsters that Steve Spurrier feels have an excellent chance of making his team. They have looked extremely sharp in the preseason exhibition and also in camp. Trout's kick comes down to Carter. He takes it at the 10, to the 20, out across the 30. Had a pretty good seam up the middle that time. A nice return by Steve Carter to the 34-yard line. George Cooper coming in to make the stop for the Baltimore Stars. Take a look at the starting line for the Bandits. Fike, Pitcock, Foote, Newton, Piles, and the tight end is Marvin Harvey. And in the backfield, Reeves, of course, the quarterback. Anderson and Boone, the setbacks. The wideouts are Trevelyan and Gillespie. First down, Tampa Bay at their own 35-yard line. Out of the I formation, Gillespie in motion to the right. Reeves fakes the handoff. Pass is batted down over the middle, intended for Gary Anderson and William Fuller. The big left end of the Philadelphia Stars got his hands up to swap that one to the ground. Bandits have never lost a preseason game. Defensively, the Baltimore Stars, the ends are Fuller and fielder Dave Ofar at nose guard. Linebackers Jameson, Johnson, Mills, and Cooper. The defensive backs are Garcia Long, Harris, Hardy, and Lush. Second and 10, Tampa Bay. Split backfield. Reed sets. Pass. Gary Anderson is finally able to hang on to it. Well, he juggled that one around like a hot potato and finally maintained possession. So Anderson pulls it in, and the Bandits will have a 3rd and 3 at their 42-yard line.
And we'll show you again here, John Reeves dropping back, and he's going to find Gary Anderson a little crossing pattern. And I know Coach Spurrier will wish that he didn't bounce that ball around, but it was great concentration for him to bring it in. It came off his chest, and he just concentrated on it, brought it down for a nice game.
John Reeves in his 13th year as a pro quarterback. Last week against New Jersey, he guided the Bandits to scoring drives of their first 3 possessions, completed 7 of 14 passes. Gary Anderson looking for running room, trying to get the first down yardage around the right side. His forward progress may give it to him. This might be close.
It's going to be close. Of course, it all depends on the spot right here, and they do say that he has it.
So Anderson picks up the first down yardage. He's involved on both offensive plays for the first down on their first drive of the afternoon. Just underway if you're just joining us here on Channel 44. Bandits have a first down at their own 45-yard line. In the backfield, fullback Greg Boone out of nearby Duke University. Gary Anderson out of Arkansas, the tailback. Marvin Harvey now goes to the left side, the tight end. Reeves gives to Anderson. Nice hole on the left side. He followed his left guard for a big gainer across the midfield mark into Baltimore Star territory before Billy Hardee, the strong safety of the Stars, came up to make the stop.
Just a fullback lead out of the I formation right here. And watch some quick feet right here on that little stutter step. You can't teach that. You have to be born with it.
Boy, both Boone and Anderson saw limited duty last week against the Generals, Fred, but we know what they can do. Last season, each rushed for over 1,000 yards, becoming one of the few pro running back tandems to accomplish that feat. Second down and 2 now on an 8-yard pickup by Boone. Pass is complete to Gary Anderson for the first down, and he's forced out of bounds at the Baltimore 41-yard line. Making the forced play on Anderson was George Cooper, the inside linebacker for the Baltimore Stars. So the Bandits pick up a couple of first downs. They have driven to the Baltimore 41-yard line.
You're just picking on this 3-4 defense, running enough to keep them honest and throwing these short underneath routes and moving the ball very effectively.
First down at the 41 of Baltimore. In motion, Willie Gillespie to the right. Blitz. They pick it up nicely. Reeves unloads it over the middle, and it's complete to Eric Trevelyan. He's at the 20. Fumbles the ball. Loose ball, and falling on it is Marvin Harvey. Well, Trevelyan was smacked at the 20-yard line, coughed up the football, but the tight end, Marvin Harvey, was there to fall on it.
And now watch where experience pays off on this replay. Watch John Reeves. He sees the blitz coming here. The fullback, tailback, Gary Anderson picks up the blitz. John knows they're in man coverage, and he's got a man wide open on a crossing pattern right there. And that's what experience or 13 years as a quarterback will do for you.
First down, Bandits at the 16-yard line of Baltimore. Eric Trevelyan caught 9 touchdown passes in 1984 for the Bandits. Reeves will air it out on the first down. Complete to E.T. on the far sideline of the 10-yard line. Forward progress might get him to the 9. Garcia Lane, the left quarterback, coming up to make the stop for the Stars. They are really banged up in the Stars' defensive secondary, Freddie. They have 2 starters, Sutton and Gibson, who are not even suited up today. And Garcia Lane, second-year man out of Ohio State, has moved from right corner to left corner. R.L. Harris moves into right corner for Lane. So they have really had to do a lot of shucking and jiving to that defensive secondary.
And when they're healthy, this is a very strong defense, but they're being exploited right now.
All of the doghouse defense. Second down and 3. Another motion play with Gillespie. This is Gary Anderson looking for some room. It's not there. Coming up to make a nice play defensively was R.L. Harris, who we just mentioned had moved in at right cornerback for the Stars. He cuts down Anderson at about the 5-yard line.
And I believe he's going to pick up a first down right there. And that is just awfully tough on a defense when somebody gets that first down inside the 5. Now they've got 4 cracks at it, and all they have to do is average slightly over a yard a carry in order to get a touchdown. Of course, knowing Bandit ball, we may see this one go in the air.
An impressive drive here against the Stars defense. Willie Gillespie checks out of the huddle. 2 tight ends now. Jerry Price comes in along with Marvin Harvey. First and goal at the 4-yard line of Baltimore. From the split backfield, Greg Boone, the fullback. Boone grabbed around the ankles, lowers his head, and pulls his way down to around the 2-yard line. Is where they will spot the ball. Cracking him head on was Sam Mills, the inside linebacker of the Baltimore Stars.
And we got a mismatch here. Gary Anderson's going to try to block on this outside linebacker defensive end, and you see he doesn't make much of a block, but Boone tries to bring it on, and that's the key to that outside game. Either the tailback or the fullback has got to cut down that containment and let the ball carrier get outside.
From the 2, it is second and goal now for Tampa Bay. Moving the ball smartly downfield. The stride began at their own 35-yard line. In motion, Trevelyan. The give is to Boone. He doesn't get it. He's cracked. No gain on the play. Sam Mills again. That headhunter, I'll tell you, Mills is tough. He's only 5'9", 225 out of Montclair State. But he is a real workhorse in the middle of that defensive backfield.
I tell you, he got down there with Greg Boone. You know, Boone's not too tall, but that guy got underneath him. 2 5'9" players, and the linebacker got the best of that one.
So that brings up a third and goal call now for the Bandits. They give him a yard on the forward progress, so they mark it at the 1-yard line. Two tight ends in there for the Bandits. John looking into the end zone, floats it to the corner. It's complete for a touchdown to Eric Trevelyan, who caught 9 last year and caught one, a deflection for a touchdown last week against the New Jersey Generals. E.T., who was injured late last season with that fractured fibula, but still finished 6th in the league, tying Marvin Harvey for those honors with 70 receptions. Catches his 2nd touchdown in as many weeks for the Bandits in preseason.
He's tough to, down there at 6'4" in the end zone. He's the guy you want to look for and take advantage of that height.
Zenit Andrusician, who was 55 of 59 last year in the extra point department. Off Gillespie's hold, splits the uprights, and the Bandits draw first blood here in Charlotte against the Baltimore Stars.
Let's show you this touchdown again now. E.T. gets a little help from Brodsky out here. There's 2 wide receivers to the right of your screen. Brodsky picks one of the defensive backs, and that enables E.T. to come wide open. And that defensive back is not real happy with Brodsky.
We'll be right back with the score. The Tampa Bay Bandits 7, the Baltimore Stars nothing. Charlotte Memorial Stadium, the Bandits lead the Baltimore Stars 14-12. Randy Scott along with Fred Abbott. And Fred, we've watched Bandit ball for 2 years. It would appear from what we've seen today and in this preseason that Steve Spurrier's game plan really isn't going to change that much this year. He's not only out to win ball games, he's out to entertain the fans and have a little fun in the process.
He is probably one of the most exciting coaches in pro football, Randy, and he never ceases to amaze me, and he continually comes up with new things and new wrinkles.
Talk a little bit about this Bandits offense that we've seen out here today. John Reeves, Gary Anderson, all the wide receivers just doing an outstanding job, and they would appear to be ready for the start of the season a week from now. Especially Reeves has looked sharp.
Oh, he's just looked incredible last week. He was very effective, and he just picked up the pace right where he left off. He's throwing pinpoint passing and just doing a great job. The wide receivers, the running backs, everybody looks good. Maybe a little bit more polish on the running game, but the passing game is right where it was last season.
Carter fumbling a couple of times out there, getting the Bandits in a pretty bad hole early. However, the Bandits recovered thanks to some great defensive plays. The interception by Kelly Kirschbaum. Dwayne Anderson came on to make an interception late in the second half to give them possession again. I think the defense is also looking pretty sharp.
Oh, the linebackers and the defense, I think overall has been playing incredibly well. They just made some great hits and made some things happen.
Well, we're at halftime with the Bandits leading 14-12 here at Charlotte Memorial Stadium. The halftime activities on the field. As you look at some of the fans here in Charlotte, we would guesstimate a crowd perhaps close to 18 to 20,000 coming in here today. Capacity at Memorial Stadium is around 24,000. And there aren't a whole lot of empty seats that we can spot from our vantage point.
At a basis.
Well, today's game, I'm sure you've noticed by now, is not being played under the experimental speed-up rules that we saw a week ago in Tampa Stadium. And on the field prior to the start of today's game, I talked with Coach Steve Spurrier and asked him the reasoning behind doing away with the speed-up rules for the final preseason game. With Coach Steve Spurrier, this is Randy Scott. Coach, you and Coach Jim Moore of the Stars, before the start of today's game, decided to abandon those speed-up rules that you had to play under in the first couple of preseason games. Steve, what was your thinking on those lines?
Well, actually, Randy, the league called in, I think, Wednesday or Thursday and told us what the rules are going to be for the season. And that is they're not going to use those speed-up rules except after a penalty. So incomplete pass, the clock will stop. Out of bounds, the clock stops. The only new thing is going to be when there's a penalty, they'll start the clock on the referee's signal.
We still have the 5-yard protection for the punt return man and the fair catch on the punts. No fair catch?
No, Randy, that was just discussed, and it never passed. We're going to use the same rules as far as the fair catch that we had last year.
Okay, Steve, you have to make your final cuts this weekend. Tough time for you. You've had a chance now to look at your talent in a couple of games. Are the Bandits going to be stronger, and are these going to be tough cuts to make?
Well, hopefully we're going to be stronger, Randy, even though we may be playing most of the guys that played for us last year. We think a lot of these guys have improved with a year of weightlifting and running and just self-improvement. And there's going to be some new guys here and there. Bobby Futrell, Dwayne Anderson, 2 defensive backs that have a chance of cracking the starting lineup. Offensively, we're going to be just about the same except for right tackle. And it's going to be either Reggie Smith or Dave Piles right now. So we're going to be pretty much the same, but hopefully we can play better than we did last year.
Kind of exciting to come back here to, well, you coached close to here at Duke University. You have a lot of relatives here. And, of course, Greg Boone played at Duke for you. It's nice to come back here and see all these fine folks. There are good football fans here in Charlotte.
Well, that's true, Randy. In fact, I was telling some people earlier, I came to this stadium when I was about 10 years old. My parents are from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I think Charlotte Garinger High School used to play Harding every Thanksgiving Day, so I went to several of those games. So I've been here before, and, you know, hopefully I was telling our guys, don't embarrass me here in front of sort of one of my hometowns. Hopefully we can put on a good show here today.
I know all the fans looking in back in Tampa today, Steve, want to know what is the status of Chris Collinsworth right now?
Randy, you need to ask Mr. Bassett that question. I really haven't been that closely involved in that situation.
Okay, we understand he did take his physical, though, last week, and I guess it's in the hands of the insurance company?
That's what I read also, and supposedly he may be with us next week, is the last I've heard.
All right, Steve. Thanks for joining us here at halftime today.
Okay, Randy.
Looks like a banner year for the Bandits lies ahead as you see the skyline of Charlotte, North Carolina, from the end zone of Memorial Stadium in Charlotte, where this afternoon a crowd of about 21,000 came out for a USFL game between the defending champion Baltimore Stars and the Tampa Bay Bandits. The final score here this afternoon at Memorial Stadium, the Bandits 28, the Stars 20.